We are back here in the Hunter Classic and back in yet another event. This time the flip-flop event. And unfortunately, it does not mean that we get to hunt in flip-flops, but honestly, if we cut the shoes out of the frame, I could definitely see this guy wearing flip-flops. But there are 4 missions left of the 8 that we initially started with. If you caught the live stream last Wednesday, we got about half of the objectives done. But of course, only having 4 objectives may sound like this is going to be a short hunt. The thing I love about these events is as we go off to do those objectives, we often run into other things such as a whitetail buck run, and throughout the hunt, we'll be going for those things as well. No way. There is no way. We're starting this hunt with an albino buck. He's not huge by any stretch, but he's not bad. 95 to 115, it certainly could be worse. And he's got a sticker off his right brow tine, basically. I was literally, so what I thought was going to happen was it was going to be a not very impressive buck. And I was going to say something to the effect of, usually it'll end up being something like this, maybe one day it'll be a not typical, but instead, we've got one of the coolest, like, mission kills I can remember in a very long time. By the way, we're here for a bobcat, just any bobcat basically not shot from a platform, and we'll try to make this shot just quickly with the crossbow. Try to line that up so we can drop him, and that will work. But the entire premise of the flip-flop event is to not use platforms or be on your feet. I think that's what they're going for there. And I assume if we just walk up towards the center tower, bring our e-collar, we'll be able to get a male bobcat that scores over 6, and we'll be good to go. I think, honestly, maybe any bobcat will score over 6, but what the heck? Literally, that guy grunted, and that starts our hunt. Hard shot him at 32 meters with the crossbow, not even 100 score. Makes no difference to me, a really sweet kill. And one that can go into the Rare's Lodge, but one reason I shot him there was, I think, it's not as flat as I was hoping, but we might be able to come up with a decent screenshot in the sun here. And I mean, in the end, this is more or less what I was going for. So there's actually another buck coming in. So if we could, oh boy, get a shot at that. I did not realize what kind of situation we were putting ourselves in, but it's right up there. And we do have the 243, which probably we should have in hand just in case. And I mean, right there is evidence it could have been worse. With our albino, this guy might crack 60 if he's lucky. That shot was a little bit high, but it got him down. And already 2 whitetail deer on our quest for a bobcat, and one just a little bit more special than the other. But hopefully once we claim this guy, we can head to the tower and ideally get a bobcat call pretty quickly. Wasn't he like minimum 55? Either way, not that we expected him to be anything special. Let's head down towards that and see if we can get our first objective crossed off the list. And that right there is what we're actually here for. A 20 to 30 kilo bobcat and a 7 to 10 score estimate. Now, I've been tracking this particular cat for almost 30 minutes. Really not so good that that deer is fleeing that way, so we may hurry up and take this shot. Part of the objectives is to have the animals be unspooked. I think, again, the whole flip-flop thing, if you're going to be on your feet, some level of stealth would be required, and we don't want to have, I think, even spooked or nervous animals. So, no idea if that buck was going to run close enough to spook it, but no point risking it when we have a capable weapon for that range. Now, here's the thing. I thought the moment I saw the tracks that they looked particularly large. Obviously, they were a max estimate track, and even in spotting the bobcat, it had the max weight and max score estimates, so that's encouraging. And he looks pretty good size, so hopefully it's a good one. He is 23 kilo and a 9.17 score, so big, not absolutely huge or our biggest ever. So in, what have we been here for, 33 minutes? An albino whitetail buck and a pretty nice bobcat. Definitely not a bad deal. So there are 3 objectives remaining. We need a puma, a lynx, and a Sambar deer. You guys can probably guess, we're going to save the lynx for last. They always give us trouble in these events, and it feels like there's one every single event. I think we'll maybe go and try to get the puma. That should be pretty quick as well. It just requires a 12 score, which any puma basically will score above that. And if we can get lucky, we can get one to call as soon as we spawn in. You know, that is a pretty nice looking bighorn. It's up to 205, and its weight estimate is decent enough. Now, weight obviously doesn't play into their score, but I do find generally the highest scoring bighorn are typically pretty heavy as well, and that seems to be a thing with alpine ibex, with Dall sheep. They're some of the only species that really have seemingly a weight and score correlation, but I don't see a lot of really high scoring bighorn that aren't, say, 108 kilo plus. And this may be a 160. It's been so long since I've hunted bighorn, I'm not real sure what we're looking at, but if this guy's in that 108 kilo range, I bet he'll be a 180. He is 104 kilo and a 163, so that's more like what we'd expect. Still a decent ram, and no sign of any pumas just yet. I'm kind of hoping if we go through the railroad track areas, maybe we can get one to call and bring it in with the e-collar. That took seemingly forever, but finally, we've got a puma coming into our call, and it almost managed to sneak past where we wouldn't have seen it, but that shot went a little high, still managed to bring it down, and one thing that we had to do is go back and get our e-collar, because we're going to need that over on Hemmeldal for the lynx, and I sure hope we can get a little luckier with lynx than we did with the pumas. You can see, we've traveled 11.5 kilometers this hunt, and I like to, in these objective videos, kind of consistently mention how long it takes for some of these objectives to be accomplished, because in a video that's being edited, it'll often make it look like it happens in just a couple of minutes, but we're 2 hours and 5 minutes in. It took, I think, 33 to get our couple of whitetail there and then the bobcat, so a little over an hour and a half to actually get a puma, and hopefully that'll be the objective that takes the longest. But this was just a little female puma scoring at 12.5, but that'll be enough to knock out that objective, and that leaves us with just Sambar and Eurasian lynx. So we move to Pickabeen Bay for our third objective, and that is to get a 150 plus scoring Sambar, which I wouldn't say is incredibly difficult. 150 is not particularly high scoring for them, but we tried this on last Wednesday's classic stream and just had no luck. So what we're gonna do is run the river first. I have on many occasions while running down through here for water buffalo and bantang just spotted a nice Sambar deer across the river and managed to take it that way. We'll do that first, and if that doesn't work, we'll fast travel to a couple of kind of known Sambar hotspots. Well, at least there's hope here. A 130 to 200 Sambar. The one problem is his brow tine on his left side is way short, so that could cause a deduction, but I'm pretty sure even like nervous animals don't count for this event, so we need him to definitely calm down. We did spook him a little bit ago, and just the way he's walking around, I'm pretty sure he's still nervous, so we'll slowly kind of move around, try to keep an eye on him, eventually put scent out, and when he starts coming our way, then we'll try to line up a shot. And that's what we are looking for. So he's on his way in. I don't know if that's going to crack 150. I certainly hope it does. But what I do know is that at that angle, the 4570 Buffalo should have no problem taking him down. That'll do. And just hopefully he's big enough, because we still need a lynx that scores 8+, which basically means we need a male lynx, and we've spent more than 2 hours on objectives like that in past events, so we really don't need to extend our stay here on Pickabeen Bay, but depends on what he is. And I really feel it may come down to that brow tine, but hopefully he's got enough kind of extra to go over the top. Oh my goodness, 147.5. If the brow tines matched, he would have been 150. Well, guess we gotta find a better one. I don't care what kind of deductions this one has. He is not going below 150. He's a 160 to 230 estimate, but much like the last one, he just spooked. We had fresh fleeing tracks, max weight estimate, and luckily this time it's led to something a little bit better. So same kind of deal, we gotta just hang with him, watch till he calms down and put out scent, but as long as we don't mess up and shoot him when he's nervous, we should be set here. I think we're finally all good. He's coming back this way. We followed him for forever and just didn't really have any good spots to set up, and we never knew if he was actually calmed down, but now I would certainly say he is. And if we can just line that up, that had to have gotten into something. They really are tough animals, but even still, I think we should have gotten a lung or something. He dropped right there. And finally, we're headed to Hemmeldal. This took an hour and 24 minutes just to get the Sambar, which frankly probably shouldn't have taken that long, but bad luck or just going the wrong direction, whatever it was, it took that long. But just quickly, this is at least a decent stag. Left lung and head. Somehow, at 92 meters, it was a 219 score, so definitely a solid one. CSS of 106. But that is the Sambar deer scoring more than 150 objective, and now we head after lynx. And the thing about it is, we can fast travel to our first lynx spot, get a mail call, and this will take 5 minutes. If we don't get a mail call, then it is really a challenge. So, hoping for the best. Not hearing anything, and we'll probably go ahead and set up our e-collar down here at the tree stand for just a couple of minutes, just in case. Many times I have called in lynx here without actually having gotten a call from one, but in all likelihood, we're in for a little bit of a lengthy hunt yet. You know, this is the negative to not having great lynx tracking skills. I kind of thought the footprints that we had were pretty small, and unfortunately, it's led us to a female lynx. And I guess on the bright side, we didn't track it for very long, so on one hand, it didn't cost us too much time, and also if there's any kind of additional positive to it, is that we managed to track down a lynx that had spooked relatively quickly. So if we can find a male track, at least we know we can do it with some degree of efficiency, but it all just depends on spotting them in the distance before they spot you once they've calmed back down. But this has no chance at scoring above 8. I think female lynxes are in the 6 or 7 range. And as expected, 6.46 for that one. So no doubt we need a male. And that one actually had spawned pretty close to where we fast traveled to. As soon as we got to the tree stand, a roe deer spooked, so I actually didn't sit in the stand. Just went ahead and started moving because I figured the roe deer would have sent stuff running, and I think it did. But we were able to track that down quickly. We just need a bigger one next time. Man, this is so unfortunate, but still kind of encouraging. This is the 3rd female lynx that we've had. The last one called, and I just went ahead and ignored that. At least our lynx tracking is high enough now to identify male or female calls. This one just made the kind of ambient sound, so you can't tell if it was a male or a female that made the sound. Went ahead and started calling, and unfortunately, the 3rd female lynx of the hunt, but we still haven't even gotten that far. Like, we've only covered 1.5 kilometers. So maybe it's a kind of heavier lynx spawn, and if that's the case, maybe it's a little more likely we run into a male, you know, sometime in the next half hour and not 3 hours later. And I guess it could be worse. We could have spent a bunch of time tracking that, but again, barely over 6 score, just not gonna happen with the female lynx. We have to get a male. Could be the smallest male in history. It's going to score above 8. Just need 1. Man, is that a welcome sight. After so much time, we finally got a male lynx coming in. We're not going to do any messing around. We're going to take it at range with the 223. We don't want it spooked or anything like that, so let's line this up. That ought to do just about right. And I've lost track exactly, I think 2.5 hours here on Ameldal. And in total, counting the 2 hours on stream last Wednesday, right about 8 hours and 10 minutes, I think, of total time to get all of our objectives done. And man, I knew the lynx would be rough. I think it ended up being the worst of all the objectives. We had no less than 6 encounters with female lynx before we had our first male. This is our second session. After 4 in the first session, I decided to just start fresh. 37 kilo though. That's a good one. 10.4 is not as high scoring as I would have guessed, but we will take that. And that should complete the flip-flop event. The rewards are always nice. I think it's 3,000 GM or something like that. A tripod stand, the little trophy, all those things are cool. But the reason I enjoy doing these events is really the first kill of this hunt, our albino whitetail buck. And on that note, I think we actually have a fast travel available by some miracle, so let's go back and take a look at him. You know, that actually turned out pretty cool. We had a 760 scoring albino wild boar in this spot, and probably we'll put it back there, but after a super lengthy hunt, I just wanted to place our buck in the lodge, get a nice up-close look, got that sticker coming off the back of the right base there, just a cool looking deer, Nowhere near our biggest albino. We even have this one from last February, a 153 in the lodge, but just cool to get that, and I'm super stoked to have that event over with. That lynx, as per usual with the lynx objective, was a struggle and a half, but added another rare to our rares lodge, and another event trophy to our trophy gallery. But anyway, that is going to do it for this video, so as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.